for red, and we're in the 72nd Street stop on the 1, 2, and 3 so that you don't have to be. It's Sunday, April 3rd, about 2:40 in the afternoon, a gray, cold day. Just want to note a few features in this station. What lies behind that door? I'm guessing some kind of pump room. And here, this very narrow stairway, which is part of the original station configuration from 1904. And this very narrow stairway is going to take us up to the control house that's been here since 1904, the street level control house where you pay the fare. And this control house has been here since 1904. This used to be a restroom. It sort of says women. I think the skylight was added in a recent renovation. Well, let's exit. Thank you. And this was built about 20 years ago as a second, much needed, much bigger entrance to an expanded 72nd Street station. And they widened the platforms, which were very narrow since they were open in 1904. You can see pigeons walking on top of the skylight. I'm sure that's one of the effects the architect of the station wanted to achieve. So we're at 72nd and Broadway, and this is part of our series Broadway by the Hour, where we are going to walk the entire length of Broadway from the southern to northern tip of Manhattan in 1-hour segments. So let's start here. Gray's Papaya, which until sometime in the 70s was a Papaya King location. There's still Papaya King on 86th and 3rd, but this has been Gray's Papaya since sometime in the 70s. And let's see, this was very popular for papaya and hot dogs, but they also serve breakfast now. And inside, that ceiling with the crepe paper, fruit colored decorations In the 70s, they every square inch was filled with imitation plastic fruit, citrus fruit, but not a papaya. So we're actually walking up Amsterdam now for a block or two. Amsterdam is the uptown continuation of 10th Avenue. Let's just quickly look at the Apple Bank. It's a Sunday, so it's closed, and I understand they have a magnificent lobby, but that even when they're open, you're not allowed to take photos on the inside. So this was the Central Savings Bank, but it's been Apple Bank for decades. But back in the 70s, it was the Central Savings Bank. And can we see inside at all? No. Looking south on Amsterdam Avenue. Looking at the cab that didn't quite stop behind the stop line. Oh, I ate in there about 12 years ago and liked it very much at the time. This was Jacques Torres chocolate. I guess it's not anymore. So, all right. I didn't know that. They have a location at Grand Central. I didn't know that. So that's worth checking out next time I'm in Grand Central. Shoe repair while you wait. And again, it's April 3rd. And we have to make a stop in Levain Bakery. So this is 74th Street, just east of Amsterdam Avenue. Okay, so that was well worth the visit. Came away with 4 different varieties of chocolate chip cookies, and they have other stuff available, including crispy pizza. And here's Miriam, an Upper West Side outpost of an Israeli restaurant that started in the Park Slope neighborhood in Brooklyn. Started in Park Slope, probably 20 years ago, and recently expanded to the Upper West Side. This is the back of the Beacon Theater. Well, we see the front of the Beacon Theater.
Aye. Tell Amy I say aye.
All right, and then just if we need a reminder lesson in Roman numerals, it's here. Across the street is Fairway, as the sign says, like no other market. I don't know if that's been independently verified. This was the original Fairway location, and then the market expanded, opening locations in Harlem and eventually in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I think a location in Connecticut, but they expanded too quickly or something, and they filed for bankruptcy and reduced the number of locations. Including or especially the one in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Which is now a food bazaar. That's with an A. And there's the Beacon Theater across the street. And more Fairway. And then Steps, which is a dance studio. And just look at the face. Just like the mosaic in this sign. Redundant. Another bakery. And Serafina, which has several locations in the city. I think they have one in Tribeca. So the partially obscured part of the original sign indicates that this was a Cuban Chinese restaurant. There were a lot of them, especially in this part of the city 50 years ago, including further north as you get closer to Morningside Heights and Columbia University. This is the Apthorpe, which takes up the entire block. I don't know that we're going to be able to see into the courtyard through this archway, unless, well, maybe. This is mostly traffic coming off of the West Side Highway or Henry Hudson Parkway. This is the end of the line for the M79 Crosstown bus. It's an SBS bus. First Baptist Church. And at Broadway and 80th, Zabar's. Zabar's located in this oddly Tudor-style building, which you can see extends at least part of the way down the block. And this is a Verizon retail location now, but it used to be H&H Bagels. Zabar's Cafe. And Zabar's. But we are not going to go in. You should go in, but we're not going to. So Zabar's for your deli meats and smoked fish. Baked goods, coffee, salads, whatever. This, which is now a Staples location with a residential building plopped on top of it, but back from 1969 until the early 80s, this is where Sesame Street was taped. It was a small studio called Teletape. in here. Barnes & Noble. Restrooms are on the second floor near the children's area. And Harry's Shoes. A go-to place even for parents from the outer boroughs to buy their younger children's shoes. Some of the salespeople in here seem like they've been working here for decades. This is West 84th, but it's also called Edgar Allan Poe Street. And the West 84th Street sign, being brown, indicates it's in an historic district. So the Riverside West End Historic District, I think that's a fairly new designation. Well, let's get a look down here. Beyond the substantial 5-napkin burger outdoor dining structure and the former Coach store. And let's see. Because this historic district apparently lasts at least until the next corner. Oh, so why is West 84th Street called Edgar Allan Poe Way or something like that?
I'm on the phone with my mom.
I actually don't know. And we seem to still be in the historic district. Here's a little timestamp. So maybe on a separate walk, we'll walk the Riverside West End Historic District, which I presume is better to see from Riverside or West End. We're at 86th Street. This building, like the Apthorpe, takes up the entire block. And it has a courtyard in the middle. And let's see if we can get a view into that courtyard. When the original subway line was built, in many locations, in Upper Broadway especially, the ventilation grating bins directly onto the tracks below. When the subsequent phases of the subway were built, the ventilation grates were positioned so that they weren't directly over the tracks. So let's get a little bit of the detail that exists above the main entrance. And this. And with just a view into the courtyard. And another view into the courtyard. I would just say that digital sign that indicated the subway arrival times is a little misleading because it's showing arrival times at the 86th Street station for both the uptown and downtown trains above that entrance we just passed, and that entrance we just passed is for uptown only, and in order to get to the downtown train you have to cross Broadway. So that's it. That's my feedback. Okay, the Montana.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Don't know if it was named this as to be a more modern competitor to the Dakota. I do like the name of Jeffrey's Manhattan Island across the street. This has been here for decades. I think it's closed on Saturdays. And I don't know, this is a very nice sidewalk shed and outdoor dining structure. Apparently it's Hungry Betty Cafe. Thank you, Hungry Betty. In its prior incarnation before it became Hungry Betty, I was just walking up Broadway 20 years ago, probably more like 22 years ago, and Alec Baldwin was standing in front of that location with a young lady. All good things. A great salvage store. Carmine's also has a location in Times Square, or they did. They specialize in huge family-style portions. So, you know, like an order of calamari weighs 5 pounds. They've embraced outdoor dining. Oh, this is actually, this is not Carmine's. This is Dagon, which is an Israeli-style restaurant. I ate there recently. It only recently opened. I would say it's excellent. Ooh, here we have an unusual way of building upwards, with this new building on the left being cantilevered over the building on the right, which didn't want to sell apparently. Just looking south on Broadway. So we just passed 92nd Street. I guess I should point out that there used to be a subway stop at 91st Street, but it was abandoned in the 50s, I think, when the system extended the platforms for longer trains. And if the 91st Street station, well, back up, when they extended the platforms, they created a southern exit to the 96th Street stop at 93rd here. So no point having a subway with just 2 blocks in between stations. That's a very short distance. So here's the southern exit between 92nd and 93rd. And so while 2 blocks is a short distance, there are 2 subway stops that are 1 block apart. The Beverly Road and Cortellia Road stops on the Q train, they're 1 block apart. But it's a long block, so it's equivalent to 3 of these blocks. V Manhattan Diner. So I've never actually eaten food from here, but they make an excellent cafe con leche. And we're at the main entrance to the 96th Street station. So let's take a peek inside. This station was built sometime in the last 20 years. And it replaces entrances that were on each side of Broadway. So when you entered the original station configuration, if you wanted the express train, you had to go down to a below platform level and then up to the express platform. That's all been eliminated with this new station in the center of the Broadway Mall. And here is Symphony Space, a performance venue with the Leonard Nimoy Theater that, well, it's the Leonard Nimoy Thalia Theater, formerly just the Thalia Theater. This was one of the first McDonald's locations in the city. It opened in 1972 approximately. And it was one of the first McDonald's locations to feature sit down, and even had its own New York City centric logo instead of the standard worldwide McDonald's logo. It used to say McDonald's Townhouse. Townhouse with a town with an E on the end. So that you knew it was a first class operation. But it wasn't the first McDonald's location in the city. I think the first one was on 125th Street near the Metro North Harlem 125th stop. There's 96th Street, looking east, looking west. And this building in the center of Broadway, and the left and right doors say women and men, respectively. So it was a public restroom at one time, not anymore. And this is a building under construction. Just in case no one's ever seen the inside of a Krispy Kreme before. So you have quite a lot of offerings in just a few feet.
I know this cool spot me and Matt.
Let's just look at the facade of the former Metro Theater across the street. the Metro Diner, presumably named because it was kitty corner to the Metro Theater. Look at these buildings down the block. Get a look at some of the brownstones. And some of the larger apartment buildings. So here's the entrance to the 103rd Street stop. This entrance was, even though the station was built in 1904, this entrance opened, I think, in early 71. The entrance used to be in the middle of Broadway, right here in a street level control house. But it was replaced by entrances on each side of Broadway in 1971. And I'm not sure, but this building across the street may have been the Olympia Theater at one time, which used to show like second run movies in the 70s, and very reliably, whenever you went to a movie there, your feet would stick to the floor. A Ben & Jerry's scoop shop across the street. Outdoor dining pods. Actually, this is a very good restaurant too. I've eaten here a few times. another Serafina location. We saw another one closer to 72nd Street. Just take a look down there. We're at 105th Street. And we're approaching, oh, look at this, the Ellington brunch. Because West 106th Street is also named in parts Duke Ellington Boulevard. Well, we also appear to be in another historic district. Oh, still the Riverside West End Historical District. So, it obviously covers a lot of ground. We'll see that on a future walk. Here, I'll just point out, is the beginning of the M60 select bus route, which will take you to LaGuardia Airport. There's also a 106th Street crosstown bus here. So we have another example of Broadway, which was running on diagonal from southeast to northwest across Manhattan, is now intersecting with a north-south avenue, West End Avenue. And they intersect here at Strauss Park, which looks much better than it did 50 years ago. And what time is it? Okay, so I think we've reached the end of this walk. And from here, you can walk 3 blocks south and get the one at 103rd Street. You can walk 4 blocks north and get the one at 110th Street. Or the M104 bus, or the M60 select bus service, or the M116, which goes crosstown. Your choice. This was part of our Broadway by the hour, where we're walking the entire length of Broadway from southern to northern Manhattan in 1 hour segments. This is infrared, and this is what you've been watching.